Welcome to this week's WAC Extra. Today we have Southern Utah head volleyball coach Kacey Nady joining us today as the T-Birds are off to a hot start in conference play, 2-0. You're 6-7 overall. And coach, I want to start here because when we looked at the preseason poll, this was a team that was picked 8th out of 9 teams. Now, only 3 teams in the WAC so far are undefeated in conference play. You guys are one of them. So is this a team that is playing with the chip on their shoulder based on these preseason rankings?
Great question. One is we didn't talk about it. I know that it can be motivational to bring up to your team. I don't let those things affect us or talk about it because we just focus on what we can control. And I of course saw it and I was like, yeah, I'm not worried about it. Especially because I knew what we had in our gym and what we were doing in the spring and how many we had returning. And so I was thinking to myself, like, there's no way that we're going to finish this way. So, we're not necessarily playing with a chip on our shoulder. We just understand what it means to compete. And also just we worked a lot on teammateship and how to be consistent. And so yeah, and that's something too, I think that we talk about a lot is if you play with a chip on your shoulder, I think it can help you in some ways, but we talk about sustainability a lot and how can we just be consistent throughout that. And so I just think that if we talked about it, it wouldn't be as sustainable. So that's what we're about, is just even keel.
Looking at she leads your team in kills. Andrea, rather, excuse me, leads your team in kills. Why is she so good at seeing the block and being able to maneuver her shots around the defense?
Yeah. Dre is just a player that has IQ in the game, has touch, for passing, but also hand control with attacking and has a vision that is really impressive. She actually really helped us a lot last year too. She's a 6th year. She just turned 24 in August, so she has that experience to say the least. And so I think something that also sets her apart is being from Serbia and having really high level of challenge early on in her life. And that's not only in the teams that she's faced and the players that she's faced, but also with coaches. She's always demanded a lot from herself. Dre will push herself more than we can as a staff or even her teammates. So I think that's what sets her apart.
Well, not only that, she also leads your team in digs as well. How did she become just such a well-rounded player that can contribute in the front court, the block, but as well on the defensive side of the ball?
Yes. I just think she reads the game really well. And that comes back to her experience and her international experience and the level that she's competed against from a really young age. And I think that's a lot of what internationals have. The volleyball overseas is very impressive. And so I love that we can bring that flavor into our gym.
And it looked like on the roster you had 3 at least that were from overseas. Was that something that you were focusing on recruiting and pulling in players from the transfer portal that had that overseas experience?
Not necessarily. We actually didn't get anyone from the transfer portal this past season. Um, it just kind of happened that way. I think that it's important to balance your roster. And so I really needed someone experienced that can come in and play specifically as an opposite. And so that's where Victoria comes in from Florida Southwestern. And she just happens to be from Argentina. And then same thing with Ari, our libero. She's from Florida Southwestern as well. And so she was on the team last year. And again, we needed someone who could come in and compete right away in that position. And so I think that there's pros and cons to every place where you're from and, just even the country that you're from. And so like they bring something that, a different experience and level of play, but it's not necessarily something that we seek, but it's just, I love it. It's actually hilarious. Just the words, how they pronounce words and the words that they don't know, or when they learn new things. It's just like really fun. And then they teach us a lot about their culture as well. So I think it's fun to bring in different perspectives so your team can see different parts of the world through different people's eyes.
Yeah, you need to do a summer trip to Argentina, to Serbia, all
Yes,
the places, and then have them be the tour guides instead of, they're coming to
exactly.
America, different things. Now they can show you
We
everything.
are accepting donations every day.
You mentioned Ari and her experience. What do you like about her ability just to keep the play alive? I mean, she's made some pretty impressive defensive pickups where, the ball could have been dead, but she's throwing her body on the floor and keeping the play alive.
Yep. Ari is relentless. She's someone very similar in the sense of we cannot push her more than she can push herself. Ari is somebody that we have to encourage 99.9% of the time. It's been encouragement since she's been here because she's so hard on herself. So I'm not really surprised she's so scrappy because she expects the best. She's a really good reader as well. And so immersed, and I think she's still getting better. We're working on her being stopped, making one move to the ball, being able to push forward, along with being just low, some basic things. And once she becomes really consistent in those processes, I think she can be even better. So I'm excited to see what she can do for us.
And looking at your roster, it looks like you have about 8 upperclassmen, and you talked a little bit about Drea's experience, but how valuable on a team like this is that extensive collegiate experience for some of your freshmen, for those sophomores, still getting a feel for the collegiate game?
Yes. Cannot teach experience. I learned that throughout my career when a junior, this is a funny story. I was walking to class with one of the juniors on my team, only a year older than me at the time as a sophomore. And all she told me was like, Kacey, you just don't get it. And I was like, get what? I don't know what you're talking about. And now that, I've finished my collegiate career and played 5 years even throughout the time and being 23 and my fifth year and now, removed since then and seeing it, like of course I understand it. So you that's just it. You can't teach experience. And it's really like something that I've been focusing on this year is how are we going to respond in adversity and how are we going to solve problems and create solutions? And that is what experience teaches. And so there's moments in a match, like that happened just this past week where it's like, I don't think I need to call a timeout because I think that if, we just leave them out there, like they're going to figure it out. And like, I'm not here to mess up their mojo out there. So there's just a lot of problem solving that you've done throughout your career.
So you can relate to being the grandma or the 23, 24 Drea on the team.
Exactly.
You have UTA, and then you'll go back to Cedar City where you'll have 3 matches in a row in conference play, which is nice. What makes the event center such a great environment? You guys are 5-1 there when you're at home.
Well, I think we're very blessed with the America First Event Center. I think that it's really nice. It feels really homey. Our team thinks it's the best gym in the conference, and I do as well, just because it's big enough yet small enough to feel more intimate. And also, we living in a college town, and our students are awesome. Our students have a lot of pride and really support for university. So we love playing there, and yeah, we're just lucky to have that event center for sure.
Now, you had talked about your playing career, so I did want to go back to that for a second because, I mean, you were a phenomenal player at Oregon, at Arizona, and I know the sport of volleyball can take you so many places that maybe you would never have imagined based on, just not playing sports. And so I want to go back to your experience and what has the sport of volleyball done for you in terms of meeting new people and being able to see the world where you might
Yeah.
not have been able to?
Yeah. Honestly, I have tears in my eyes now just because like the sport of volleyball has created my life, to be honest with you. And it's actually a really amazing story. Going into my junior year of high school, I was living in Yuma, Arizona. And I'm not sure if you know where Yuma is, but it's pretty isolated in the
Okay. No,
sense
I
of
don't. I can't think of
like
where.
getting city to city. And I went to the University of Arizona volleyball camp. and Dave Rubio, who just retired after 30 something years, saw me at this team camp and pulled me aside and he's like, "Hey, what club do you play for?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "Well, do you want to play in college?" And I'm like, "Sure." I was playing three sports at the time. I just love sports and I was just in this my own little world, figuratively and literally, and just had no sense of understanding of what it took to play at the next level and the steps. And so my mom ended up picking me up from this camp and he brought my mom and I into his office and he was like, "Well, if you want Kacey to play in college, like she's got to move." And we started just with the basics, like Phoenix or San Diego. And so I chose San Diego. I think a lot of people would. I also had family there. And then he connected us with a club out there, Coast, and people I just feel like there's angels in my life that have really guided my life to this spot. And without those angels, I would not be here. And so I ended up moving when I was 16 by myself to San Diego after 2 weeks of going to that volleyball camp. And it kind of just took off from there. And so my junior year, I played on the 18s team for Coast. And again, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Now it's like Coast is the top 5 club in the country, and they're always winning medals and super competitive. And here I am, a baby giraffe, just being like, here, let's go. And now just the amount of people that I know in my life, the majority, almost everyone I know in my life is associated with volleyball in some way. And so I'm just so incredibly grateful this sport. And that's why I coach, is I want to give back. And I just want to be someone that helps young women in their life journey. And so, because I feel really blessed to be in this spot. Like I should not be sitting in front of you. So it's awesome. Great question.
You absolutely should. And hearing your experience and now turning to coaching to try and encourage that, how do you help players and, make sure that they take advantage of everything that the sport allows for them to do, especially because not that it's a finite window, but you want to take advantage
It
while you're
is.
in college and yeah.
Oh
I
my
mean, you could
gosh.
go back at 35 and give it a go. I thought about it. I'm 29, and I always thought I couldn't be a sand volleyball Olympic player because I was too short. On the U.S. Olympic team, there was a 5'6" girl out there. I was like, anyway.
It's true. It's not too late. Let's go back. Let's team up together. We'll start training.
Okay. Yes, you got
But
the height and
yeah, I think that and again, it's another reason why I coach is I think it's a very special time. It's very formative. You learn a lot of life lessons. You're moving away from your parents for the first time, typically, in your life. And so you're making a lot of decisions by yourself. We talked about problem solving earlier on the court. Well, that's life as well. And so yeah, maximizing the time now is very important. And I think that it takes a village. I say that all the time, between our resources from academics to nutrition to strength and conditioning, our athletic trainers, our own staff as well. Obviously, they're really helpful in their lives, to even like our donors, and then the extent of everyone else in our community that's very helpful and supportive, for our team. And so something that we try to help early on with is just introducing them to people and getting them involved and having dinners at families' homes to make them feel welcome. And then also just encouraging them, hey, come into the office, stop by. You're just not alone in this journey, and we will never expect you to figure out things by yourself. And so I think a really important step is creating a great relationship. So then therefore they can come to us and just hang out and chat. And we've set that example here, and I think we've created a great culture that they're allowed to do that and they feel free to just come in and laugh. We have players that come into the office every day, and every day we're cracking up because they're just so funny. So it's another way that I feel lucky.
And looking at, through your playing career, you've obviously had mentors and elite coaches that have kind of helped you along. And now that you're in that coaching position, what type of coach do you want to be known for? How will you take bits and pieces from all the other great elite mentors in your life and form them into, your own unique identity as a coach?
Yeah. I think that it ties into the previous answer of I just want to be there to help support them. At the same time, I think it's a balance because I do have really high expectations and standards. I'm a very competitive person. A question that we like to ask is, what feeling is stronger, the love to win or the hate to lose? And I hate to lose. That feeling is much stronger. And so because of my internal drive for myself, it's also, everyone else around me, I hold to a really high standard and expectation. And so challenging is one word that I want to be known for, but I love that because in challenge you grow. And that's something that I love doing. I love learning. I love growing. And honestly, I love failing because that means that I'm learning something. And so that's what I want to be known for, is embracing failure and helping others around me, because that's what life's about. When you can get through the hard and know how to find solutions, you're better equipped for life in so many ways, because it's eventually going to happen, whether it's in your job and relationships, it's going to happen sometime in your life. And so that's someone that I want to be known as. And so, and just someone that I want to keep our alum in our lives forever. We continue to talk to them and support them. We have actually, yes, we're in Texas now. We go to home, play Utah Tech on Saturday. And after that match, we have 107 people RSVP'd for a barbecue between our game and the football game. So that's just an example of the environment that we're trying to create. And yeah, those are just a couple of things that I want to be known for.
And looking at, it is a match day, so we appreciate so much that you hopped on.
Of course.
I know you have a busy game day. What were you challenging your kids this week, or your players, rather, not kids, players this week, in preparing for a tough UTA matchup tonight?
Heck yeah. Well, we put three things on the board on the start of practice. We said one was blocking lineup. It's really important to be able to get into the hitter space and just take away their hardest swing. Two is get your feet to the ball. We made it an acronym this week, GYFTTB. And that's what we put on the board a lot. So our hitters just need to do a really good job, especially our pins specifically, of getting their feet all the way to the ball. So then therefore we have different shots that we can hit. We need to hit more line for sure. And then the third thing is just serving. We implemented serving aggressively. We got to get this team out of system. It's not third for last. That's the most important thing, because this team is really good when they're in system. They have a lot of weapons. And something that we just told them even in practice last night, we said they're going to get their kills. Like they're a very good team. At the same time, we just got to punch, we just got to fight, and we just have to be us. Like and gritty, scrappy, relentless, fearless effort defense. Like that is a big thing that we've keyed on. So they're ready. I can tell. Last night in practice, they were just really excited. So I even made him a rap. I won't tell you how it goes, but it was a rap about UTA that we started practice with, and it was pretty legit.
What does this match day look like? Is there a team lunch beforehand, and then you'll get to the gym for, your time on the court? What does it look like when you're on the road in this situation?
So we had breakfast, and they're at study hall right now. We have 2 hours of study hall, of course, academics. 2 years ago, when we were last here, this is another funny story. My athletic trainer found a video on TikTok. I don't use TikTok. And so I was very surprised to hear it from him. Like, if you saw this guy too, you'd be surprised that he uses TikTok. It was so funny. And there's the world's biggest Christmas store here in Arlington. And like, it's just so fun to walk around there, and there's lights and there's music and there's giant Santa Clauses. And so we'll walk around there for a little bit. I like to get him out, and then we'll come back, and then we'll do a little bit of time in their rooms, and then a pregame meal along with film. And then we'll head to the gym for a serve and pass before our match. We like to do some sort of activity everywhere we go. Like we took him to the zoo last year at Abilene Christian. We got to feed giraffes. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Yeah, I want to keep volleyball something that they're passionate about and something they're excited about. And I know that it's, a lot of teams might go to the gym in about 30 minutes from now to get a move in. But I think that our training throughout the week has been enough, and I trust our training, and then we'll be ready to go once serve and pass comes, and we'll get them going. So we'll be headed to a Christmas store today.
I didn't even know there was a Christmas store. We're in Arlington. That's where our WAC office is. I got to look this up. Do you know the name?
Decorators Warehouse. Check it out.
Decorators Warehouse. I'm going to put a hood up so I don't know if I'll go during my lunch hour. I don't want to see it. Just kidding. Well, Southern Utah takes on UTA tonight. It's a 6 p.m. Central Time tip-off on ESPN+. Kacey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.